Knox Country
Podcast Edition.
I've always been around great songwriters and artists my whole life. I'm Michael Knox. Welcome to my world.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason Aldean, and you are listening to my boy Michael Knox on Knox Country
Podcast.
Welcome to the Knox Country Syndicated Radio Show podcast. We have Jaron Boyer in the studio today. I've known Jaron a long time. I've actually probably been the guy. I think I gave you your first cut, didn't I?
That's right. Sure did.
Which song? What was it on? Humor me, just like praise me for a minute.
Yeah, Jason Aldean, you might have heard of him.
And what was the title?
I Ain't Ready to Quit.
And then you co-wrote it with?
Yeah, I wrote that with Thomas Rhett and Ben Stennis.
Yeah, I remember you and Thomas coming into my office. That's when I met you for the first time.
Yeah, that was a big day as a songwriter. I remember Thomas called me and was like, "Hey, Knox wants us to come listen to this song," and I was like, "Let's go!" And I remember I was driving over. I was at my office, and we drove over there from my office, and man, that was probably one of the coolest feelings ever. Having Jason Aldean sing one of your songs was pretty cool as a songwriter.
Well, man, tell us a little bit, because a lot of people don't know your story, but you actually didn't start writing songs until like your mid-20s.
Yeah, my dad lived here in Nashville, but I moved to Nashville just to get out of the small town. And but my whole family, my dad's family is all musically talented, so it's kind of in the genes. But when I moved here, I was, I thought about going to college and maybe trying to do something with my life, but
and then you chose songwriting.
Yeah. I know. I started hanging. I met Ben Stennis, and I just got the music bug. And my dad had a little studio at his house, and so I was always messing around in there when I moved to Nashville. And I just got that music bug, and it felt like everybody in town did music. So that's just, man, I just wanted to do music. I fell in love with it, first sight.
But were you playing instruments in high school? Were you playing?
No.
Because that's what's amazing. It's so hard to learn an instrument later than younger. Right. If you're just picking everything up in your late 20s, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about music. I loved music, but I was so into sports. I was playing every sport, so I really didn't have time. Didn't have time to do music. I was playing football, basketball, and ran track. And just didn't really think about music until I moved here, and then I just fell in love with it.
Oh, well, when things started, who was your first publishing deal with?
I was with Bug Windswept. A guy named David Corlew heard some of my stuff, and he did a little co-venture with Bug Windswept at the time. And then Bug Windswept ended up getting bought by BMG.
So when you were at Bug and Windswept, were you getting cuts there? Were you getting some activity there? Or was it more just starting up?
Yeah, I had a few cuts here and there. I felt like I was, my publishers kept telling me I was on the verge of just, breaking. I didn't have any singles, but
you were known.
Cuts.
Well, you had a reputation of kind of one of the earlier track guys, kind of around, guys that were self-contained, do their own recordings, play some instruments and kind of do it all self-contained.
Yeah, I think around 2012 I started, I bought me a little rig and I tried to be a producer, just kind of got tired of just going to the demo sessions and I kind of wanted to control, when you're in the demo sessions, you're doing it so fast. And I just kind of wanted to take my time and peel apart some parts and add parts. And so anyways, yeah, I got into that, and I feel like I lived in my office forever.
Well, you've had 3 number ones. They Don't Know for Jason Aldean was a number 2 for 5 weeks, so it's kind of like you've had 4 number ones. Right. But like you started out with working with guys writing with guys like Sam Hunt, Thomas Rhett. You were writing with a lot of young artists and a lot of guys like that. So you had a little bit of an ear for kind of things that were moving forward.
Yeah, I was, just to talk about the kids that started up. When I first signed, I was writing with FGL. They were still in college, and they had this cool little band and this cool following. And Thomas Rhett was still in college, and I think Ben Vaughn was like, "Hey, I got to get you with Jaron." And so I was one of the first co-writes, Thomas Rhett. We become good buddies, and we wrote every day. And then Sam Hunt, I remember he first come to town, and he was looking for songs, and BMG played him some songs, and he didn't like anything, and they were like, well, let me play you some of Jaron's stuff. It's this new, fresh stuff, and it's kind of ahead of everything, but listen to it. And he was like, yeah, I want to write with this guy. So me and Sam, we ended up writing. We wrote, that was the first of his career, but we wrote a bunch of songs together.
But you had one end up on that first record.
Yeah, I did, yeah. It's called Vandalizer. But yeah, Sam.
So was Sam. He in college at that time, or was he?
No, he was he was at Kansas City football at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He was at their training camp, and he got cut. And he told me, he's like, man, I'm glad I got cut. I wanted to come to Nashville and do music.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, let's dive into a couple of these songs, man, because your first number one, Hell of a Night.
Yeah.
You know, kind of tell me how that kind of came about, who you wrote it with, and the kind of the story behind it.
Yeah, I wrote that with Zach Crow. He's Sam Hunt's producer, and I was writing with Zach quite a bit at the time, and Adam Sanders. We were writing that day, but we were trying to write a Jason Aldean song.
Well, we had that on hold for Jason for a long time.
Yeah, and we were shooting straight for Jason Aldean, and I guess Adam Sanders and Zach were on the road with Dustin, and I think they played that song for Dustin. Dustin fell in love with it, and so Dustin cut it and ended up being a big number one for me.
So Hell of a Night was your first number one?
Yeah, that was my first number one. I just signed with Peer Music. I was about three months in when I wrote that song.
Oh, I remember. I mean, because we always like writers that get them early cuts where we don't owe them any money.
I know. Thank you, Mickey. Yeah, no, that was really cool. Dustin, man, I was super excited. I had a cut on his first record, and I thought that was going to be a single, but...
Which one was that?
It's called Yeah, Yeah, Yeah.
Wait, what was it called? What was it?
It's called Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. Hey guys, it's Jaron Boyer. If you want to have a hell of a night, you need to listen to Knox Country right now.
Okay, cool. Well, and now you also wrote Flatliner for Cole Swindell, who had that duet with Dierks Bentley, which also went number one. But that one has an earlier story, like you had written that years before.
Yeah, I actually wrote that the same year as Hell of a Night. I wrote that, 2 months, I think, into my peer deal.
Yeah, you hadn't done anything really good after that first couple of months at Peer.
That's true. That first year at Peer, man, I had 3 singles on the radio from that year.
Yep.
So I need to go back and listen to that catalog and see if I have any other good songs from that year. I signed with Peer.
But you wrote that with Cole earlier.
Yeah, I wrote that with Cole. We wrote with a little producer, Matt Brown-Louis. And yeah, that was a cool little write. We wasn't really writing for Cole at the time, because Cole, he wasn't a signed artist yet. I think he had a little song on the highway and Chillin' It, or I think that was it. It just kind of hit the highway radio. And yeah, he had that idea, and I thought it was really cool. And we were trying to find some fast tempo song, and that's how it turned out. It turned out really good.
Well, when did you find out that was going to go on a later record, and then Dierks Bentley's jumping in on it? Did you ever fall into that, or was that something you just heard about after they had already done it?
Yeah, man, was it about 4 years later after we wrote that song, Cole, I think it was on the second album.
Isn't that crazy? 4 years later.
Yeah, 4 years.
You probably forgot about the song, and then 4 years later it's popping up.
Yeah, 4 years later, and I heard he was going to cut it, and I heard Dierks Bentley really loved the song and wanted to be on the song with him, and I was like, man, that's definitely going to be a single if Dierks is on it with him. And so yeah, it was cool, and ended up being the first track on the record, and I don't know, I think it was 7th or 6th number one for him.
Well, that was a big song, dude, and then that led into Somewhere on a Beach with Dierks Bentley.
Yeah.
Which was a monster song. I mean, we even see it on commercials about drinking tea these days.
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest song to ever hit radio.
But that started over a couple of different meetings, right? It started at the beach and then ended up here in Nashville somewhere.
Yeah, me, Michael Tyler, and Josh Miranda, we were on a little writers retreat, and we were on the beach in Dustin, and we come up with that idea, but we couldn't figure out we just couldn't figure it out. We loved the idea, and then we, ended up coming back into town and writing that song, and it turned out to be the biggest song of my career.
Yeah, but when y'all came up here, you were working on another song, correct, or something like that, and then y'all got drugged back into that one.
Yeah, we were working on another song, and Michael Tyler was off that day, or I don't know what he was doing, but he was finishing whatever he's doing. But he knocked on my door, my office, and he came in, and we played him a little track we were working on, and he was like, "Man, let's write that Somewhere on the Beach song to this track." And anyways, Michael Tyler did his little magic and started the song. And
so that was a huge song that earned you a SESAC Song of the Year award.
Yeah, man, that was big day.
I remember that
SESAC
night.
Awards.
Y'all didn't know it was coming because y'all were both sitting there with deer in the headlights.
Yeah, man, we had no idea, and I wasn't even thinking at the time it'd be up for Song of the Year.
But you knew something was up when Dierks came on stage to give an award.
Yeah, me and MT looked at each other when we seen Dierks, and we were like, "Are you gotta be kidding? This is about to happen." And anyways, yeah, Dierks introduced the song as Song of the Year for SESAC, and man, that was a big moment because me and MT, we went way back to 2012 writing songs, and it's been a long time, and we knew we were gonna write some hits together. We just didn't know when, but that was a cool moment, when your buddies have a number one and Song of the Year. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and MT always tells a story that just a couple of years earlier, y'all were putting money together to buy sandwiches. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, y'all were having singles and everything on the radio and overextending yourself, buying homes and stuff.
Yeah, we were roommates, and we were definitely struggling. He had a little easier time than I did. He was using his mom's credit cards. and I was broke. I wasn't making anything, writing songs. But I knew it was about to happen, but yeah, it was pretty funny.
Knox Country Podcast Edition.
Some of you know me as a record producer for acts like Jason Aldean and Thomas Rhett. Others know me as the son of rock and roll legend Buddy Knox, Party Doll fame back in 1957. I'm Michael Knox. Welcome to my world. You're listening to Knox Country
Podcast.
Hey, this is Keith Urban.
What's up, y'all? It's your boys here, Florida Georgia Line.
Hey, this is Little Big Town.
And you're listening to Knox Country.
You've entered Knox Country.
Welcome back to the Knox Country Podcast. Now, let's talk about the best sounding cut you've ever had. They Don't Know. That's probably your best sounding recorded, songwriting recording you've ever had.
Yeah,
well, really?
good.
Is it as good as maybe Girl Like You or Getting Warmed Up or Dirt to Dust?
Yeah, no.
Heaven Now is pretty good, Mickey. No, sorry. Yeah, man, They Don't Know sound. Yeah, it was awesome.
But They Don't Know, man. It just hung out at number 2 for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah, it hurt that it didn't go number 1, but
yeah. Well, those holiday peaks, man, are tough. You get caught up in that frozen chart section.
Nah, it was still really cool to see Jason Aldean have the They Don't Know tour. I've always looked up to Jason, and he's definitely been my favorite artist. And have him sing your song on tour that's a pretty big moment for a songwriter.
Well, man, you had the title of the album, the title of the tour, a single off that record. Now this record, you have a couple of cuts on there this year.
Yeah, 3 cuts.
And he's opening his show with one of them. Have you got to see that yet in any form?
Yeah, I just seen a little video.
What's the name of that one?
Getting Warmed Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, I feel like that's going to be one of my next big songs, and Girl Like You is going to be a big song.
But on Getting Warmed Up, you reached into your rap world, right? Your heart and soul.
Yeah, it was pretty funny on that song. We wrote the song, and I had a little work tape, and I have like all these packets from Jay-Z and of rapping and clips and stuff, and so I just threw a little clip of Jay-Z at the end rapping, and I kind of quantized it where it fit on the tempo, and I sent it to the guys, and the guys were texting back laughing, And they're like, oh, that's so awesome to have Jay-Z at the end. And I was like, man, I feel like this song would be cool if we had some cool rapper or Jay-Z or just something like that. And then you come in my office one day and I was playing you the work tape. I was like, hey, come check this song out. You got to hear it. And I forgot I had Jay-Z at the end of it rapping. and I got to the very end and Jay-Z, pops up at the very end of the song and starts rapping. And Knox kind of grins, and he's like, man, I really like that part. He's like, y'all got to come up with something like that in the song. He goes, that's a cool moment. He goes, I want y'all to come up with something like that. So the next day we all got together and Josh put this cool little rap together and it's I don't necessarily know if it's a rap. It's just like a hype part of the song.
Yeah. But that one turned over quick, man. Right when y'all did the work tape, I drove it out to Jason's house and played it to him. And,
oh yeah.
And he was on it first second. He was already talking about it being a show opener, and we hadn't even cut it yet. So the pressure was on for us to cut that right. Because he was already talking about it being the show opener, talking about it being things like that.
And my little work tape was really cool, but man,
I destroyed it.
Yeah, getting that record back. Hearing the record cut blew us away. We were just like, man, that's definitely, there's a lot of magic behind that song.
No, yeah. The best job, the hardest job I have is not messing up y'all's cuts, because y'all's demos are great and they're masters of their own.
Yeah, but you got your thing you do that makes Jason Aldean sound like Jason Aldean, and I don't think anybody else can do that, but. Yeah, it just, man, that song turned out so good. I feel like this new Jason Aldean record is definitely probably sounds better than anything I've heard in a long time. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Hey guys, it's Shalacy. Check us out on the web at knoxcountry360.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at knoxcountry360.
Well, let's jump into one last thing that I want to talk to you about, man, is this Rascal Flatts cut you did, the Riot song. And to me, man, well, that's one of your better songwriting moments. And I hate it wasn't a number one for you, but that thing has gotten more attention, man, than most cuts have who've gone number one. But do you even, because that happened in that first year too, didn't it?
Yeah, around the first year writing for Peer.
Man, when you play that out, people are singing it.
Yeah, everybody talks about that song still. I had a bunch of songwriters text and artists text me when that song came out, and they're like, "Man, I'm gonna come to your number one party." But anyway, it didn't happen. But it's still a good song. First time I got to hear Rascal Flatts sing it, I heard the album cut before it came out, and man, that's pretty cool because Gary LaVox is one of the best singers in town, and that was just super cool moment hearing that. And then at the, I don't think it was, what's the awards in Vegas, the ACMs? Yeah. So Rascal Flatts sang it with Christina Aguilera, and actually,
that was crazy, dude.
Yeah, I was actually at home that year watching it, and actually Dustin Lynch texted me. He was like, dude, he goes, you wouldn't believe what's going down right now. He goes, this is amazing.
Yeah, I was there. I saw it happen.
Yeah, that was so cool. I've had 3 songs at the ACM Awards, 3 years in a row pretty much, and that's so cool to have your song just at the award show. It means you're doing something as a songwriter pretty good, I guess.
Well, man, you're definitely, moving upward in your career. So what are things that are your goals? I mean, where are you wanting to see this go? You wanting to see this go into production? You want to see this go into, a different place? I mean, what's your goals in this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to be known as a songwriter, and having Song of the Year and number ones is always a great accomplishment. And, I just want to keep writing great songs, and I want to produce a little bit. Producing a little kid right now named Josh Miranda, and he's got a little EP out on Spotify, and he's doing really good. I want him to get a deal, and that would be so cool to have a one-year artist get a deal and produce him, and kind of just like what you did with Jason. That'd be cool to for that to happen.
And so man, I'm very happy to have you part of this show, and I appreciate you being here.
Knox Country.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Knox Country Podcast. Special thanks go out to co-host Miss Shalacey Griffin and producer Donnie Walker. See you next time.
You've entered Knox Country Outtakes.
Do we need to take a break? I mean, you need to calm down, or do we?
We got serious there for a second.
Jaron can lay back, buddy, real quick, because this ain't the Jaron.
Okay.
This ain't the Jaron we get to hang out with every day. All of a sudden, it's like he's going crazy. And I said, "Hey, Jaron, what's your goals?" My goals are.
I mean, that song earned you the 2013 SESAC Song of the Year award.
2013. What year is it right now? 2018. You sure? No, it's 2016, right?
I think it was 2016.
Oh, did I miss? Oh, hold on. Look, wait. Wait, what year is it? Wait. Hold on.
2013.
You're like, what?
Yeah, I was like, man, I need to get another song on the radio. 2013. I'm gonna fire my publisher.
Knox Country.
Podcast Edition.